So I called Dr. Ricardo in Guadalajara and asked him what I could do to learn more about what he was doing. And he said, "You need to come to Guadalajara." I said, "I'll be there." So he met me at the airport. I spent 3 weeks with this man in his office, and you know, because I'd learned so much about musculature of the body through applied kinesiology and all my studies in chiropractic, it was easy for me to understand. He put forward to me about the stress pattern creating tension, in particular in the paraspinal muscles, which was affecting the whole spinal function.
Okay, define a stress pattern.
Stress pattern? Well, a stress pattern is what a person's body goes into when the body goes on the alert. When we go on the alert, we get into our dominance. And our dominance is going to be governed by left or right brain dominant. If we're left brain dominant and we're on the alert, there's going to be energy flowing from the left brain across into the right side of the body. And the right side of the body is going to be much tighter than the left. Now, if we're left brain dominant, it's going to be, right brain dominant, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be more tension down the left side of the body. Now, there are also two other patterns that people can be in. It's going to be left or right brain, but it's going to be a crossover pattern. Tension in the upper right with the left brain, tension in the lower left with the right, with that left brain. And with the right brain pattern, it's going to be tension in the upper left and tension in the lower right. So these are all the body on the alert. And it's not just about going in there and trying to rub that muscle out. There's something that's locked in you because your body's on the alert. The brain is saying, hey, the pituitary is sending a message. Be ready. There's a threat. So when stress is up, immunity's down, because there's no repair when there's a tornado coming. Everybody's in the bunker.
Right.
So this is what's happening in people's bodies. They're in the bunker because there's a threat.
And
not aware of it.
Is it always stress related, fear related? Is it food related? What
Stress comes into 4 basic areas. Stress ores fit into 4 boxes. Chemical is number 1. You breathe the air here in Nashville, you've got a lot of toxins going into your body. Your body's got to deal with that. That puts it on the alert alone. Then you've got all the electromagnetic radio waves, telephone waves around the place. So there is chemical and electromagnetic putting the body on the alert. Then, of course, what about what we're eating? So many people are eating simple carbohydrates and not getting a balance of good complex carbs, good protein, good oil and good fibre in their meals. So there's a threat to the body. So in the chemical box, we've got external and internal chemistry that's got your body locked on the alert. The breathing alone has put your body in a state of alert. Now, then you're going to have some sort of emotional patterns and troubles that happen. Well, that's just going to heighten the alert. But the body's already on the alert, producing, releasing cortisol and adrenaline into the system, because we've got to fuel the muscles on the dominant side. So energy from the digestive system is moved into the muscles to keep you ready. And the problem is, we're ready even when we're sleeping. Cortisol, one of the things of cortisol is it creates fear, anxiety and depression. So, you know, here we're trying to overcome fear, anxiety and depression, and we're not understanding that there's this stress going on within me that is, it is compounding now, because this fear, anxiety and depression are helping to compound it, but before that came, there was a stress response happening. And that's what we've got to get to the bottom of to shift in people.
I want everybody to get this, because what I just heard you say is that with the life that we're living today in this modern age, with all the environmental realities and all the dietary realities, as in our fast food mentality, a lot of people do not eat healthy, refined sugars, refined flours, that just those 2 things alone have already got us stressed out.
On the alert. Your body is on the alert. Then you become more stressed out because the foundational problem is wrong. You see, when we're in our dominant brain, we don't have integration happening between left and right brain. It's like having the right advisors in life. If you don't have balanced advisors who say, now listen, you need to think about this first. You need to consider these things. So that's the left brain. Then we need the advisor to say, come on, give it a go. That's the right brain. The immunity is messed up. It's not normal. It's not functioning like it should because stress is up. Immunity is not working how it should. Therefore, all sorts of things are going on. We all have some cancer cells in our body continually. We have this free radical stuff running around in our body, and this just gets worse because adrenaline and cortisol are very catabolic substances that really create more trouble in the body. After spending time with Dr. Ricardo and seeing how he was getting people to do different exercises to help with their freeing up of the tension patterns in people, I really had that thought out there. There's got to be another way. We've got to have exercise here without stress, because everybody thinks exercise is about pumping weights or running the roads, and it's not about that, because those sort of things actually keep you in a stressed state. You feel great when you've done it, but that's an endorphin release and it's adrenaline being released, which is making you think that you're feeling good, when in reality it's not.
But is it actually a healthy thing, is my...
Well, it is and it isn't. The reality is, if you're doing exercise that's keeping you in a stressed state, what do we talk about stress and what it's doing to us? We need exercise that takes us out of that. So people say, well, you know, I'm burning it up. Yeah, but you're burning it up and you're fueling it at the same time.
Got it.
There's the problem. Some people mightn't like what I'm saying here, but you know, we have to. The average person needs exercise without stress. If you're looking to be an athlete, you will need to do some of those gymnasium type exercises, but you will also need to do exercise that that maintains and develops your range of motion. Because if you do this type of thing continually, your muscle shortens and it gets big, it gets blown up. But we need to have flexibility, range of motion, and this is what I found with Russian gymnasts. I used to go to Moscow Circus a lot in Australia when they came to Australia, and I was amazed at the flexibility and strength of these Russian gymnasts. And then in '96, I got to hear about this equipment that they trained on in the Moscow gym. It was a secret. It was developed in the 70s. No one knew about it until the Russian Federation fell to bits. And they called this exercise, this motion exercise, a biomechanical muscle stimulation, which after using that for several years, I had great results to help lots of people with this. But I wasn't still able to really affect the paraspinals to the degree I wanted to without doing one-on-one work with people. So Dr. Ricardo and I both agreed that we needed to find a way that we could exercise paraspinal muscles in particular without having to be a one-on-one on people. So this is where we put our heads together to work out a way that we could produce this rhythmic neuromuscular stimulation along the paraspinal muscles to help to balance that stress pattern in people. Well, we first thought that it would just help to relax the muscle, but it does much more than that, because for a muscle to relax, there's got to be a brain response. So what we found is the rhythmic neuromuscular stimulation of the table creates this relaxation response, which develops range of motion as well as tone in muscles. And as that's happening, there's a shift in brain function to more balanced brain. People come more into an alpha state.